Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to AstralGames Day 6, where I will be playing Hearthstone again. And today I'm going to play the Arena, which is this menu option right here. It's a different form of Hearthstone, but you'll see as we go along. One of the things that you need to know about the Arena is that it costs either in-game money or real money, but one of the things that you need to know about the Arena is that you get a random choice, a random selection of both hero and cards. So before I go through the whole show introduction and everything, let me see what kind of heroes I get to choose from, and then maybe those of you in chat, those of you who are in chat, can tell me which they would prefer to see me play. Let's see what we get. Either a paladin, a warlock, or a warrior. So I'm going to do some show announcements now, and if people who are in chat would like to tell me which one they would prefer to see me play, I would appreciate that. So this is my game show. I stream, well, when schedule allows me to. I do have a job besides this, so which has a flexible schedule, so I cannot always stream when I want to. But you can always follow me on my Twitch channel to see when I'm online, or my schedule is posted down below. If you're on YouTube, the link to my Twitch channel is posted in the video description, and there you can go to that link and see when I'm online. Other than that, I stream a multitude of games, sometimes differently, sometimes one different each day, but sometimes the same. I've already streamed Hearthstone once, but that was constructed, and this is Arena. Other than that, you can send me requests if you would like to see me play a game. If you think, I would like to see him play, let's say, I would like to see him play Banished or Dark Souls, then you can send me a message on my Twitch account, and I will look at them. And if there are a multitude of requests for a single game, I will play it. So, Arena Run, I'm going to do an Arena Run. Arena is basically a mode where you get a choice of out of 3 cards every time until you have a deck of 30. So you get a choice of 3 cards, you pick one, the other 2 disappear, and then 3 new ones appear. So there could be some tough choices ahead. Obviously they're not going to troll you by, say, if I pick the paladin, they're not going to throw a mage card into that to say, ha, you can choose it, but you can't play it because you're not a mage. No, they stick to the hero you choose and the cards that are basically not tied to a hero. So, yeah. Alright. Seems like I get the choice. Interesting. I both like the warlock and the paladin a lot. So, the warrior I'm not too fond of. The warlock's really cool if you can play constructed with it, because warlock murloc decks are really good. But since we never know what we're gonna get, I might choose the safe option and go paladin. Let's see. Yes, I'm going, you know, what the heck, let's go with Warlock. Just to see what we get. As you can see, we get 3 cards here. And this is an interesting choice. Basically, this one is really nice. At the start of your turn, swap this minion with a random one in your hand. So if you have like a big minion, like a 10 costs XX minion that's really powerful, you can play this one for 3 and then get that minion for 3 mana instead of the 10 it usually costs. This one is also nice for Warlocks, since Warlocks have a lot of removal spells and stuff. And giving adjacent minions spell damage +1 means that you get +1 damage on those spells for each minion that is adjacent to this mage. So suppose you have 2 minions adjacent to each other and you play this card in the middle of them, so both minions get +1. Suddenly your spell that does 4 damage does 6 damage, which is quite huge in this game. It's all about a game of single digits. You will never see a monster with more than 10 life or so. Almost never, indeed, at least. So single digits is quite good. So let's go for the spell damage. Here we have an immediately tough choice. Obviously these are both aggressive cards, which the Warlock favors. The Warlock favors aggressive decks. So we would immediately discount the Novice Engineer. But the question remains, which of the two do you get? I would say go with this one. I like charge, and paying 3 life on a hero that has a hero power that costs life as well is quite a big deal. So let's go with this one. Again, another interesting choice. This one is quite useless because he only has his special ability when you have a weapon equipped, and Warlocks do not have weapons. So this one we can discount, but these two are quite interesting. The Argent Squire is good when in protection mode, defensive mode, because Divine Shield basically lets her take a hit without actually dying. While the Mad Bomber is interesting to say the least. 3 damage, but it's randomly split, so you don't know where the 3 damage will land. Let's go with that. Just for some fun. Now this choice is more straightforward. Soulfire is really good. You have to discard a card, but it's 4 damage, and 4 damage is pretty big in this game, as I said before. Usually hit points or defenses don't go above single digits on characters, so this is a good removal card. It's also 0 mana, so it's always nice to throw in when you're in a bind. Again, this one we can basically discard, because again, gain attack equal to the attack of your weapon, and Warlocks don't use weapons. This one is always nice. Silence. It removes the card text of a card, so if a minion, for example, has taunt, silence crosses that off and he loses his taunt. So it's always nice. And the 4/3 is not too shabby. And the taunt, which basically says you have to attack this creature before you attack me, sounds way too defensive in my view, so let's go with it. More Warlock choices. Again, we were discounting this one earlier. This one, however, is really interesting. It has stealth, which means it can't be attacked or targeted until it deals damage. Obviously it can't deal damage, but at the end of your turn, give another random friendly minion +1 to its life. Obviously this one is meant to stay in the back ranks, boosting your minions each turn. So let's go with that, to give some meat to our aggressiveness. Another interesting choice immediately, this game keeps throwing at me. This one is another aggressive card. It's a 1 mana 2/1, 2 attacks, 1 life, obviously favoring aggression. And when it dies, it deals 2 damage to the enemy hero, another aggressive move. This one also favors aggression, gives all your minions +1 damage or +1 attack. And this one, when it comes into play, it is a 6/6 for 6, which I don't think they did without any pun. 666, but what it does is when it comes into play, it deals 1 damage to all characters. That includes you, the enemy minions, the enemy hero. So it's a board sweeper, but it's only 1 damage. So I'm going with the aggressive option since we already have the blue Guild Warrior Mad Bomber. This one is also interesting. A healing card. It costs a demon, but it restores 5 health to your hero, which is, as a warlock, not really what we want. Put 2 random demons from your deck into your hand. At the moment we have a demon, so it's not really good for current position, and we don't know what the random cards will do, whether or not Fate grants us another demon. This one, it's a bit high, but that's probably because he has 7 life, and it does 1 extra damage on your spells. Again, this is whether Fate decides us to give another spell, but with still 24 cards, 23 cards left to choose, 22, sorry, this one counts as well. With still 22 cards left to choose, I'll take my chances on a spell. A taunt or restore 2 health. Obviously not the most aggressive choices, but with Arena Run, this kind of choice had to appear sometime. So I'm going with the restore 2 health one, just to buff some of my defenses. Now there's a giant to choose from. The game threw me 3 giants. So what they do is 1 cost less for each other card in your hand, which we won't have much of because we're an aggressive deck, so we can scrap this one. This one costs 1 less for each damage your hero has taken, which is interesting because as a warlock you take a lot of damage and your hero power costs 2 life to use. And this costs 1 less for each other minion on the battlefield. Each other minion, so also the enemy minions. Since we're an aggressive deck, we're not going for many minions on the board. Neither do we go for many cards in hand. So we're going for the damage one. An interesting choice again. This one is a 4/4 that summons a 2/2, which is an extra body on the board. This one makes my minions cost 2 less. Looking at the power curve, we have a lot of 1 cards, a lot of 2 cards, a lot of 4 cards, and only a few high cards. So it's not that interesting to us. This one, however, whenever a minion dies, +1 attack, which feeds into our aggressive playstyle. So I'm tempted to take this one. This is a somewhat less interesting choice. This is a 1/1 that deals 1 damage, but it's also 1 mana, so it's cheap. This is somewhat... this also deals 1 damage, but it's not as cheap as the 1/1, but it has an extra life and an extra attack. And this one is a 4/2 with stealth, which is pretty interesting because, once again, stealth, you can't be attacked or targeted, so you can deploy it whenever you feel like it. However, since we're really going on the aggressive one, I'm going for the lowest cost, maximum damage possible. Another interesting choice, I have to say. And another 2 defensive choices. Divine Shield, take a hit and don't take the damage, is a defensive option. Taunt is a defensive option. So I might put an Infernal in anyway. We'll see. Another defensive option. A friendly demon +2/+2. Let's see how many demons we have. 1, 2. We have 2 demons in the deck. This is just 4 damage, and it also gains +1 from this guy, +1 from this guy. So this might be a great pick for this deck. It's a spell, so it feeds into the wizards we have. The game really isn't kind to me. It isn't feeding my aggressiveness of this deck. But once again, we just take the most aggressive option. More defensive options and the Leper Gnome. Also note that in arena mode, the 2 of each card limit is not present. So I could easily just take more than 2 Leper Gnomes in the deck if I wanted to. And if I got the chance of the game, of course. I'm tempted to take 1 defensive option just because. It doesn't fit the deck, but with all the aggressiveness you do need some fallback. This one is always nice to have in your deck. After you cast a spell, deal 1 damage to all minions. Obviously you don't want any minions out yourself, but since we're throwing them at the enemy at a fast rate, I suspect them to die fast. So maybe it's a nice board sweeper, but I'm also tempted to take this one just because of the spells. Let's go with an interesting choice one of these two. I'm not that interested in this one because even though it's a cheap 4/7, it deals 4 damage to itself, so it becomes a 4/3 actually. And we're not a priest, so we don't have the I want to heal this guy incentive. Nor are we a paladin, which can actually heal the guy, or a druid. You know what? I'm going all out. Another Soulfire is really cool. Just so we can get the removal. The first minion we play each turn costs 1 less. Which is getting kind of nice because the 6 bar is kind of up. Oh. Sorry about that. The bar of 6 is kind of up. So it is nice to throw in a which has changed into a Japanese lyrics, but it gives you. This is an interesting bug. Japanese lyrics. Well, for any of you who can read Japanese, be my guest. So it gives you 1 each minion costs 1 less, which is interesting, especially since you want to summon a lot of minions. Oh, there we go. This one, destroy 1 of your mana crystals, is a big drawback, I believe, because it doesn't give you as much mana to throw out minions. And this one, it gives you 1 on the spells, and it lets you draw a card, which is quite nice. So I think I'm going with this one. This gives me 2 advantages, this gives me 1 advantage. It's that simple of a thought process. I can already see which one I'm picking here. Basically, Abomination is a defensive option. It has taunt. That's the end of my thought process. This one, whenever a character is healed, gain +2 attack. I don't heal characters. But this one feeds into our aggressive style. Hi Bookfish. How are you doing? How was the walk? So this one feeds into our aggressive style, because every time you summon a minion, you deal 1 damage to a random enemy. which feeds into the aggressive style and the lots of minions on the board summon style of our deck. And this will make Will happy, because we have an Pandaren. The Harvest Golem would be the choice I would make here, because it's basically 2 cards for a 3 mana cost, because when he dies you summon a 2/1 Golem in its stead. This one relies on having many minions on the board, and as I said, we're going to throw them at the enemy at a fast rate, so we won't have many on board. And this one returns a friendly minion from the battlefield to your hand, which is not the thing that I would like in a deck like this, because it's an aggressive deck, and so you don't want to return your minions to your hand. But since it's a Pandaren, and Will seemed to enjoy Pandaren so much last time, let's go with this one. Yes, I'm going with the aggressive deck. My hand was dealt. Basically, I got Leopard Gnomes, Bluegill Warriors with Charge, which are all basically aggressive cards. So, yeah, why not go aggressive? If I would have been dealt 6 Tauntaus, like 3 Tauntaus at the beginning and 3 Tauntaus at the next, I might have considered going defensive, but aggression is the style that is dealt here. So, just for you, Will, let's go Pandaren. It's not the best in this deck, but I don't care. Alright. So let's see. We have 21 cards. And we have 2 spells. Normally I would go for the Blood Imp here, because it... Hider? Yes, indeed. Normally I would go for the Blood Imp here, because of the life my characters need to survive, all the aggression. But what we can also do is Soulfire, which deals 4 damage, removes a minion, and it is a spell, which plays into the Ancient Drake, the Archmage, and the Ancient Mage. Ancient Mage. I need to work on my pronunciation. So again, this one is totally useless to us, because we don't wield weapons. This one is a defensive option, because she has Divine Shield, and so she can take it. This one, however, is 2 mana for 4 attack. That's great. You have to discard a random card, which sucks, but you do get a lot of damage in for just a bit of mana, which fits into our aggressive playstyle. And you get to see the other Pandaren. Will is in luck today. As you can see here, the 3rd Pandaren that I was searching for. When we made the deck lastly and constructed, but which I didn't have. A defensive option, a high cost, high attack creature, and a Pandaren. So of course, we're going with the Pandaren. There you go, Will. Another Pandaren, but this time I'm going with a different one. Because these 2, we have this one in the deck now, and these 2 are very interesting choices. This one feeds into the spells, but since I didn't get dealt too many spells, I only have Soulfire and 1 Shadow Bolt. It's not as interesting as this one. It's a late game card, so that might work against us. But the +1/+1 does give us a nice advantage. So let's go with that one. And another Blood Imp, and a Fairy Dragon. Again, this one isn't too interesting, search 2 demons. Well, I do have a Blood Imp, a Succubus, and 2 Dread Infernals, but I'm not too fond of this card. Blood Imp I'm always fond of, getting more life. But this one is also nice because he can't be targeted by spells or hero powers, which is nice to have for just 2 mana. It always frustrates players when you play this one, so we're going with that one. More giants? No, thank you. Destroy all minions. That might be an interesting choice for this deck. Or deal 5 damage to your hero. For 5/6 for 4 mana. Since we are the aggressive deck and we don't want our minions destroyed, I'm going with this one. I don't pick the giant because we already have a giant and, well, you don't want too many in your hand. A defensive option because he heals. A somewhat aggressive option. But this, unfortunately, is my favorite card, so it has my approval. Choose an enemy minion at the start of your turn, destroy it. So basically it has 1 more turn to act and then it's gone. It's a spell, so, well, it doesn't feed into the spell damage because it doesn't do any damage directly, but I so love this card. So I'm going with it. Once again, a weapon, another buddy, but the Dark Iron Dwarf. We are in luck. It's a very aggressive card because the 4/4/4 gives another minion +2 attack this turn. So at the moment you're ready to charge with your minion, you can throw this guy down and he takes 2 extra damage, which is fitting for the aggressive playstyle. And finally we get our Murloc. That's what why is that unfortunate? Well, I don't know. I was just trying to say I might be biased towards that card. So that was all I was trying to say. There might be a bit of bias towards the card. So yeah, here we have the Murloc. That's what I said in the beginning. When you choose a warlock and you want a Murloc deck, don't go arena because the final card might be the only Murloc you're getting. You already have a Pyromancer. Whenever you cast a spell, gain 2 attack this turn. It's aggressive, but we have too few spells for it to matter, I think. You know what? Let's just go with it. And here's my deck. Yeah. Actually, I should take a break now, but timing and stuff. But you know what? I'm just going to play 1 game before the break, and then we'll see what becomes of it. Let's see how our deck works. You gotta have a fan. Yes, indeed, you do. Well, actually, my favorite class is a Paladin. But, and I was down at one, but you know, I was in the mood for something aggressive, so. Against the warrior, against Batman of all warriors, the greatest Dark Knight in the world. Immediately we get to draw 2 spells. We get the Knife Juggler, which I obviously want to keep. This is a nice removal spell. This is a nice removal spell. You know what? Let's keep it. Might not be the best choice, but whatever. The Knife Juggler is always good. Batman, the Dark Knight. As long as he doesn't drive in his Batmobile, I'm fine with it. I think, as a true evil warlock, we should greet him. And then unlock him. And he greets back. A kind fellow, this Dark Knight. Obviously, knife juggler high. Let's see if he plays something. Or armors up, maybe. He plays a bluegill warrior to take care of my knife juggler. So he does have an aggressive deck against an aggressive deck. I'm going Fairy Dragon now because, well, we don't have targets for these. We don't have target for this one, so we can't buff this one. Also, drawing a card now when you have a Fairy Dragon in hand which you can play is not worth the 2 life I need to play. Gamer squads. I'm always fine with gamer squads. The gamers are awesome. Just look away when there's thoughts. And he's going to play a coin. Which 4 mana card is he going to play? A weapons hand. An interesting move. This is an interesting hand. I have only a few spells in my deck and I've drawn all of them. Well, I want that extra attack. I know it's a strong spell, the corruption, but I just want that extra attack on this minion. Wait, is it only this turn? Oh, rats. I should have read better. Nope, you can't target that. Oh, great. Really? We have been drawn a bad deck. I wonder what to do. Let's just draw a card. Oh! And let's just hit him because we're aggressive, and that's fine. We've been dealt a bad hand, I think, but no matter. And now we get the Warfare draw. Really?
So many possibilities.
Fourth move. Great. Don't strain your brain. Well, then the game shouldn't put me in this kind of difficult situation. Let's just draw. I don't know. And no, it's not the best card, but whatever. I think this game was quite harsh on us, but No worries, we have more to come.
The Frost Wolves stand ready.
Oh, there goes my other soulfire. A shame. I would have liked to use it on this warlord, but
For the War Chief!
yep.
We
Let's
must
game, I
cleanse the
assume.
Sunwell.
I'm just yeah, it just does 9 damage and then that's game. That's game. Unfortunately, a bad game. The very first start of this deck. No worries. As you can see here in this menu, these are all your wins, and when you have gained 3 losses, you're out. So then you have to start over. So yeah, and you can manually choose to start over, but I don't know who would do that. Funny to hear all the woo sounds again. Woo sounds. Yes. It's pretty awesome. So when I come back, it's part 2 of the stream. And then going to play some more games. See you all in a sec. I'll leave the game music on.